It's Culture Podcast. Receipts over reputation. If they lied to you, we brought the paperwork.
Keep it culture.
We keep it culture. Truth hit harder when the lies get louder. Everybody talking, but the facts got power. Receipts on the table every single hour. We keep it culture. We keep it culture. No code switch, no fake outrage. Built this hill from the ground, no stage. Real talk, black truth, new page. Keep it culture. Keep it culture. Keep it culture. Yeah, we keep it culture. Everybody got opinions, few got evidence. Whole timeline loud, but allergic to intelligence. Moving like headlines, bigger than the residents. Black folks still fighting systems and negligence. They love symbolism more than repair checks. Photo ops cool, but where the respect? We ask one question, where the money at? Then they start tap dancing, trying to pivot from the facts. I'm from the era where receipts still matter. Now people sell narratives digitally scattered, but we bring documents, timelines, records, turn real conversations into pressure. Navy vet mindset, discipline, structure. Build this platform different, not another damn cluster of clickbait chaos built for algorithms. We built up accountability and rhythm. And if the truth make them nervous, that mean the pressure working. Ain't no saviors over here. Just people tired of getting marketed instead of served. We keep it culture. Truth hit harder when the lies get louder. Everybody talking, but the facts got power. Receipts on the table every single hour. We keep it culture. We keep it culture. No code switch, no fake outrage. Built this here from the ground, no stage. Real talk, black truth, new page. Keep it culture. Keep it culture. Keep it culture. Yeah, we keep it culture.
A Lee County family is speaking out, recalling the terrifying moments when they say a man armed with an AR-style rifle opened fire on their family reunion.
Welcome back to It's Culture. And I'm gonna need you to sit with this for a second before we even get started. June 7th, Leesburg, Georgia. It's a Sunday night. Black family is outside, family union, kids in the yard, grandma all on the porch, people in the garage, people fellowshipping, the most normal, beautiful, private thing a black family can do in this country. And then you had somebody in a car roll down the street. A man leans out the window, starts yelling racial slurs, the N-word flying all over the place at the whole family. Then he just leaves and goes down the street. Let me get my camera situated here because it's kind of off. There we go. They let this man go. They kept it moving. Business as usual. We ain't paying attention to this dude whatsoever. They weren't looking for any type of trouble. They were having a celebration for their family. But this dude decided he wanted to come back. This time, he got body armor on, he got an AR-15, and he opened fire on this family. 20 children in the yard. 20. Now, here's what I want you to pay attention to, because this is where the story gets complicated. And it's not complicated like it's unclear what happened. Okay? It's complicated like the system has a law on the books in Georgia, specifically for this moment, and they may not even be able to use it. One charge, aggravated assault. $5,000 bond. And he walked out. Walked completely out of there. So tonight, we're going to break down exactly what happened, what the law says, what the prosecutors, they need to do, and what it means exactly when Georgia passes this hate crime law for Ahmaud Arbery in his name now, And then these people might look the other way because it's time to use it. So let's keep it culture. We're going to do some serious analysis tonight. So let's go. Okay. Let me get a little taste. Let me get my receipts in order here, okay? Gotta get my receipts in order. Okay, let me get my receipts. Got my receipts right here. Okay? Let's look at this. I'm gonna give you the sequence of events here, okay? Because this case is everything. This case is everything. This is not a he said, she said situation. This is a timeline, okay? So, receipt 1. This is the setup. It's Sunday evening. It's June 7th. Autumn Leaf Drive in Leesburg, Georgia, Lee County, Southwest Georgia. Where are my Georgia people at? You see, I'm repping the state tonight. All right? This is Southwest Georgia. It's about 15 miles south of Albany. So you got a family, they outside their home for this reunion weekend. You got multiple generations of people, 20 children confirmed to be present at the property. And then you got this Peckerwood who drives down the street, Jeffrey Tyler Kinzer. He's 36 years old. So it's reported that he was leaning out the window and he starts yelling the N-word at the family. All kind of other racial slurs. So he directed this at a group of foundational Black American people in their own front yard. So there was a witness, Ramel Green. He told WALB, which is the local news affiliate down there in Albany, he started yelling the N-word. He kept going, so they let it pass. They discussed what happened among themselves. They kept their gathering together, right? That's important. Right? That's important. So we're going to look at number 2, okay? He left the scene. He left. After shouting out the N-word and all these racial epithets, he left the scene and then, and I mean leave, and then he made the decision to come back. There is no version of what happened next that is spontaneous. What happened next requires planning. Okay, it required planning. It required him getting out his car, going home or to some other location, strapping on some body armor, loading a rifle, and walking back to this family's house. He drove down the street, yelled racial epithets, went home, came back, body armor, walking down the street with a loaded rifle. And he walked right back up to this family. This ain't no road rage situation here. All right? This ain't road rage. This is deliberate. So the Lee County Sheriff, they confirmed that he was on foot carrying an AR-15. And then he was wearing body armor. And then he opened fire at these people. The family was helpless. Ramel Green, a Marine veteran who was present, returned fire. So he described putting in people in this position when he saw the gun. He moved and returned fire while protecting the people in the yard. Kinzer was hit. He was injured during the exchange. He got treated at the scene, and then he got cleared at the hospital. And then, and only then, was he taken to Lee County Jail and arrested. 1 count, aggravated assault, and a $5,000 bond. 1 count, aggravated assault, a $5,000 bond, and this man opened fire on a bunch of black people in their yard for no reason whatsoever. He bonded out, and now he's back on the streets. Right back in the same neighborhood, because they said that he was the neighbor. Now, I want to add something to this receipt pile that's dropping, okay? Because it's June 16th and I'm recording this. All right. Jeffrey Tyler Kinzer reportedly works as a lead firefighter for the fire and emergency services at the Marine Corps Logistics Base in Albany. This dude worked at a federal installation. He worked on a military base. But today, they confirmed that he was on leave, on administrative leave. Now, I don't know if that means that he's not getting paid, but I know it's been confirmed that he is on leave. So this man has held a position of public safety on a military base. And he allegedly went to a black family's home wearing body armor with a rifle and then just announced his hatred for us with all type of slurs. He got one charge, $5,000, and then he walked. Drive-by slurs. On return, one charge, $5,000 bond, and then the GBI got called in. He's on administrative leave as of today. No hate crime enhancement filed. No hate crime enhancement filed. Hold that. I want y'all to hold that thought. I want you to hold that thought. I want you to hold that. So, I want to talk about the law. Because a lot of people, I've seen it online, they're asking whether there should be charges as a hate crime, right? And we as foundational Black Americans, we have been talking about the need for us to have hate crime enhancements because these race soldiers are out here trying to provoke us into things all the time. Why we didn't got no hate crime bill? They said we got a hate crime law. There is no hate crime law nationally that would protect this, right? I guess you could say, they could say the John Bird and all that, but this guy yelled out racial epithets and got away with it. And only thing he got charged with is aggravated assault. Now, the reason why he didn't get charged with hate crime enhancements, even though Georgia has a hate crime law as of 2020. Because Georgia has a law that exactly, it is supposed to be for this. It's HB 426. So this bill got passed on June 26, 2020. Governor Kemp signed it. A little history about these hate crime laws across the states. Georgia was one of the few states in the country left that didn't have a hate crime law. They could never get a hate crime law signed in the state of Georgia, right? And then Ahmaud Arbery happened. And y'all know who Ahmaud Arbery is. He was the young Black man that was murdered while jogging, unalive. I'm gonna say that so I don't get struck on this channel, right? He got unalive while running on 213 by 3 men. They ran him, you know what I'm saying? They ran him down. And they unalived him. So and for a while, that whole case was getting covered up down there in Glenn County. And then it exploded because people started asking questions about it, and then next thing you know, it went national. That case, so because of Ahmaud Arbery being unalived by these race soldiers down there in Glenn County, people found out that Georgia didn't have a hate crime law on the books. We didn't have one. We have not one single hate crime law. Knowing all the racial tension in the state of Georgia, all the lynchings that have happened in the state of Georgia, we have never had a hate crime law until 2020. So when the legislature, they finally moved on it. And then you got HB 426 and it became Georgia's hate crime law. But I want to break down, right, what this hate crime law does and what it doesn't do. Okay? All right? This law, it's not a standalone charge, right? I want y'all to understand that. HB 426 in Georgia is not a standalone charge. Meaning, if somebody was to commit an act, which this is of hate crimes, you cannot be arrested for someone just for the hate crime. So this man here went down the street from his house, decided that he wanted to open fire on people who wasn't even bothering him. After yelling racial epithets, you would think that this would be a hate crime because he intentionally went down there after shelling out racial slurs. Nope, not in the state of Georgia. That's not what our law does. What our law does, what HB 426 law does, it adds additional punishment on top of a conviction. I'm going to say that again. HB 426 adds additional punishment on top of an existing conviction. Meaning, a prosecutor got to prove that the defendant targeted these people because of their race, color, religion, national origin, sex, orientation, gender, disability, all that, right? That is the only time that Georgia's law, HB 426, can be added on to a punishment. You got to be convicted first. There is no hate crime law in Georgia that gets enhanced on a charge. You got to be convicted. It's called what they call it a penalty enhancement. Now, in past our Georgia legislators, I don't even know why they would even want to pass this. I don't know why, it was bipartisan. I don't know why the Democrats went along with this. Because it makes absolutely no sense to me that you would do it in the penalty phase instead of not doing it in the charge phase. So I want y'all to think about it like this. The underlying charge is aggravated assault. That's the underlying charge. That's what it's about, what he did. He fired a weapon at these people. That's a felony in Georgia, regardless of motivation. You fire a weapon at somebody, it's automatically aggravated assault in Georgia, regardless of motivation. Now, this HB 426 enhancement is going to be why he did it. So the prosecutors going to have to prove race was his reason for selecting this family and targeting them. And then a judge can stack additional prison time on the felony sentence, right? And we're talking about a mandatory minimum of 2 additional years. That's it. 2 years. Additional. Minimum of 2 years additional. Mandatory minimum. So at the minimum, you can get 2 years for a hate crime enhancement on top of an additional felony. A minimum of 2 years. And then it's up to a $5,000 fine. But there's a standard. And you gotta be beyond a reasonable doubt. Prosecutors gotta prove that to the jury. And then the prosecutors, they gotta prove that he intentionally selected this family because of their race. And my question is, how does that fit, when a case like this, how does this case fit that standard? We got the slur game, right? That's how we can get it done. The slurs came before the shooting. He didn't say them after the confrontation. He announced them before he came back with the weapon. That sequence matters legally because dealing in Georgia, we talking about racial animus. You know what I'm saying? When you talking about racial animus, it wasn't incidental in this part. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't no Freudian slip. It was his opening statement. He left and then he returned. He left and then he returned. To me, that is the most powerful legal fact in this case. Because this man was in the car shouting and stuff. He went down the street, parked the car. He had time to cool off. Whatever he was on, he had time to cool off. So he made a choice to grab his weapon. He made a choice to put on that body armor. And he made a choice to walk his butt right back down that street to that gathering. His selection of the target was not impulsive. It was deliberate. He went right back to the people that he had already been arguing with and decided to open fire. And according to reports, this was a verbal altercation at first, but the family is clear that they didn't have no type of beef with this man prior to this. This was just an unprovoked drive-by harassment. And then he followed it up with an armed return and opening fire. So the racial slurs are the motive. So what's still uncertain to me, because I gotta be honest with y'all. All right. On my channel, I believe in receipts. This is a receipts channel. This ain't a speculation channel. Ain't no hate crime enhancement has been filed. Now I know that the district attorney, Louis Lamb, he's a district attorney down there. He said that the case remains an active investigation, and I know that they were working, the Lee County Sheriff was working, they requested the GBI's assistance on this. So, but the GBI getting involved, that don't mean that it's going to equal some hate crime charges. So the only other thing that's required right now is some biased crime report or something like that. That got to be filed by the law enforcement. All right. So right now, we don't yet have confirmation that anything is happening with this case, right? You got witness testimony about slurs, but they're going to have to, these prosecutors going to need to assess these witnesses' availability. Because like I said, this was like a family reunion. I don't know if all these people were from down there. They go, I know they got a couple of videos. I showed one at the beginning. I didn't show the whole thing because we're not gonna be showing that type of violence on my channel. So, if you want to go find the video, it's out there. You can go see the whole thing. They running in the house and all that. The law is there. The evidence appears to be there too. Okay, now. The question, and it got to be honest, it's going to be the will. Because as I was talking, I said that before 2020, Georgia didn't have no hate crime enhancement law, right? We didn't have no hate crime law. Ahmaud Arbery's case made it so. But Ahmaud Arbery's case almost didn't happen because Glenn County, they prosecuted one trying to prosecute this case. Now, she ended up getting locked up too for obstruction of justice along with the 3 assailants. But they weren't trying to do nothing with this case. So we're going to have to watch this down there because this South Georgia we talking about. Okay? This man just walked up to these people unprovoked. Is anything going to happen to this guy? They charged him with aggravated assault because he discharged a firearm. But he only got 1 count. He should have got a count for every person that was out there. Especially the kids. There were 20 children there. 20 children running for their lives. Think about all this trauma. Because I think this is where we got to zoom out at. This case is bigger than one man in Lee County. Okay? This is bigger than just Lee County. We watched Ahmaud Arbery's case, and we watched Georgia put this HB 426 on the books. The whole country watched. The whole country watched. These dudes decided that they didn't want that dude, they didn't want Ahmaud in that neighborhood. And this is the same thing with this. When Ahmaud Arbery, the whole country demanded accountability. Okay? And then, like I said, Georgia put this law on the books. That was 2020. It's 2026. We have a man who allegedly announced the N-word all over the place, loud, and went and got his body armor and rifle and came back to a black family reunion, a foundational black American family down there having a family reunion, and he opened fire on 20 kids and a bunch of other adults. If that's not what this law was written for, then what was it written for? This is a clear-cut hate crime case. I don't want to see these symbolic laws, okay? Because here's the thing about these symbolic laws. We got a lot of those on the books. If you've been watching my channel, I talked about this guy named Murray Edelman, all right? And I talked about him a lot on this channel. So if y'all don't know what I'm talking about, you go check out his book, The Psychology of Social Masses. Sometimes laws are passed to perform accountability without delivering it. Laws are passed to perform accountability without delivering it. Let's go do this real quick so they can just shut up. We got laws like that. They exist so these politicians can point to them. See, this is what I did. You know what I'm saying? We did something. We responded. But if this law just sits on the shelf and it goes unused in the most obvious cases possible, then there is no protection for this. And all it is just political theater. The Ahmaud Arbery case forced Georgia to act. Now, this case is going to test whether this action was real. Because it's 6 years later. This is going to test if this action was real. And it's also going to test whether it just was symbolic politics. Look at the bond number down there, y'all. Look at the bond number at the bottom down there. $5,000. Let's just put this in context, okay? Because I don't think y'all really let's put this in context. People in this country got higher bonds for drug possession. Okay? People get higher bonds for drug possession than aggravated. $5,000? That was the bond. $500 he got out. You got people with traffic warrants, you know what I'm saying, that have bonds like this. This man wore body armor. You know what I'm saying? Body armor and showed up with the rifle to the crowd. This man strapped body armor on like he was getting ready to go to war with his neighbors for no reason. And he just walked back down to this foundational black American front yard, you know what I'm saying, and just opened fire. And we got a legal system in the state of Georgia that said that $5,000 gets you home. I got a problem with that. I have a serious problem with that. The number communicates something whether the court intended it to or not. It just said, we assess this threat this man posed to this family, and we're going to say that it only takes $5,000. All these people at this thing, y'all lives were worth this man being on the streets for $5,000. To me, I want y'all to look at that. If you're down there in Southwest Georgia, if you live in Lee County, your legal system, that system down there just told y'all that the stated price of your safety in that county is $5,000 if one of these Peckerwoods decided they want to come unprovoked, shout a racial slur at you and shoot at you. They could be back on the streets for $5,000. This man was a federal employee in a public safety role. He a firefighter. How many times this man there had to respond to emergency calls in that neighborhood? He got all this hatred built up in him. I don't think that's a rhetorical question at all. That's an accountability question. Now, the true hero of this story is Ramel Green. And I think the mainstream media coverage of this is they underplaying him. You know, they didn't list that this man, you know what I'm saying, he's a Marine veteran. He was at that reunion with his family. And when that man walked toward that crowd with that rifle in front of them children, you had a 77-year-old woman. She had to end up laying under a car in the shootout. You got a 77-year-old woman crawling under a car during the shootout. But Ramel didn't run at all, y'all. He placed people in position. He told them to get back, signaling to them. That man got back in full Marine Corps mode, okay? It's simplified. That man was reliving his days in missions. And he got into a shootout with this man. And he returned fire. And he moved under fire to protect the gathering with the rifle, you know, with his gun. And he may have stopped the massacre. But the system gave the shooter one charge and a $5,000 bond. Now, I'm going to say this. What if there was no camera? What if this was different? What if he shot him and he unalived him? This Marine veteran. This story could be completely different depending on the outcome, right? We just saw something with self-defense, right? A self-defense case, right? This situation could be completely different. The Marine veteran in the charging documents that they came out with, he didn't get no acknowledgement whatsoever. No recognition in the bond hearing, nothing from the institution that was supposed to protect this family in place. We got to sit with that contrast in this episode. I want y'all to sit with that. Because what is this family being told right now? You know, from what we know, based on what's been communicated across the country, okay, because I'm pretty sure as foundational Black Americans, we all got families. And we all have it's the summertime. We like to get together. We like to have cookouts. We like to do our thing. It's family reunion season. People going to be going to the South pretty much. That's pretty much what this family reunions be taking place at most of the time. If your family like mine, all over the South, your family reunion can become a crime scene. And you ain't got to have done nothing. You could just be out there just having a good time, listening to the old school Frankie Belly and A's. Your family out there doing the wobble and the electric slide, and somebody come by yelling racial epithets and then turn around and come back and open fire on y'all. It ain't got nothing to do with you being dangerous. You know, or that you in a dangerous area, right? It's just because you black and you outside. Being black and outside, you just visible. And someone has decided that that's just too much. There was another case up in Pennsylvania, some teens. They were just at the park. Somebody got offended that some teens were at the park, called the cops, and the cops came up there and removed the kids for no reason whatsoever. They weren't causing no problems. They weren't doing nothing. They were sitting on the park bench. Looked like they were getting ready to play basketball. Somebody called the cops. The cops came, sent them away. Because you are black and you are outside and it's hot. And for some reason, some of these people, they got what they call it, black fatigue. So, and we see them, all these Chuck the Builder types out here doing all this stuff for the cameras. We don't have to be dangerous. We ain't got to be doing anything but minding our business, just being black and outside, visible, and then someone can think that that is just too much. It's just too much for them. So they go crash out. That's why if you're going to be outside and you're a foundational black American and you should practice 2A. We don't have time to be playing these games. You may be in a situation where you got to protect your family at all costs. And if you don't practice 2A, you may be putting yourself and your whole entire family in danger. And you are simply doing nothing but being black and outside. Like I said, someone may decide that might be too much for them. You can be minding your business on a Sunday with your grandma, sitting on the porch with your cousins, and somebody can just drive past, just announce some hatred, come back, go home, gear up, and come back to you. And when that dust clears, when y'all are running for cover and y'all are screaming and hollering and trying to get your adrenaline back down and your heart trying to get your heart from not being racing. And some people, if you got elderly people out there, you don't want them having heart attacks and all this. And then the criminal justice system charges him with one count and then sets the bond at $5,000. The message being sent is not subtle. Not to me. That message says the full weight of the law does not consider your family's life worth the maximum protection. We are seeing this all over the country when it comes to us. This system is continually to show us that the full weight of the law does not apply to us for protection. It's applied to us to protect, to incarcerate us. It's applied that way, but to protect us? Nah. No. This justice system scales are tilted. And they're not tilted in our favor. At all. This law down in Georgia, HB 426, it was designed to do the opposite. Right? It was designed to say when somebody targets you because of who you are, we're going to punish you not just because of the act, but because you was targeting these people. But the law is written in a way where you got to be convicted first. That to me is a problem with this law. This law has to be fixed. We got to get people calling your Congress, your state reps. They got to fix HB 426. This law has to be fixed. The DA down there got a decision to make when he prosecute this case, if he decides to prosecute it, because like I said, the investigation is ongoing. Some people may think that the federal government might get involved. I highly doubt it with this civil rights division. No. We already know that our FBI director is not getting involved in this case. There will be no federal intervention in Lee County, Georgia in this case. None whatsoever. And this guy works for the federal government. Nothing. I promise you that. Hell, if he was to get prosecuted and convicted at the federal level, he might get pardoned or get his sentence commuted. Who knows? But the DA down in Lee County got a decision to make. And we got, as foundational Black Americans, especially being Georgia natives, not just in Lee County, all across the state of Georgia, we gotta watch this decision. We gotta watch. I want people from across the country, I want y'all to watch this decision get made in real time. I want y'all to watch it. So let me bring this home so we can get out of here tonight. Here's where we stand on these things as I record this, right? As we live streaming tonight. Thank y'all for tuning in tonight. We do this every Tuesday and Thursday and Sundays, 8 p.m. live on YouTube. So come on over if you haven't subscribed yet. Hit the subscribe button. Definitely Tyler Kinzer, 1 count of aggravated assault. That's where we at. $5,000 bond. He's on administrative leave from the federal firefighting position as of today. GBI is supposed to be having an active investigation in this. The DA down there said that more charges are possible. Keyword, are possible. He didn't say that more charges were coming. That more charges are possible. Possible is not pending. So here's what I'm tracking. So you don't have to do it alone, okay? 1, will the DA file a hate crime enhancement under 426? 2, did the law enforcement file the required bias crime report to the GBI? Right? We got to find out because that ain't optional. Not up under HB 426. That has to be done. That is a statutory requirement. 3, will additional charges come, including attempted murder? Because that's what I think the charge should be. And will he get multiple counts because of it? Because of all the people that were out there. 1 charge for each person that's out there. We should know. This man fired into a crowd with multiple people present. 1 count of aggravated assault for shooting into a gathering of adults and 20 children is not enough. It is absolutely not enough. The family involved in this, they have said this publicly, and I agree with them wholeheartedly. And I think a lot of people agree with them. I have seen people asking about these hate crime charges and why is there only 1 count? There should be multiple counts. This man should be looking at life in prison. You tried to commit a mass shooting, unprovoked. And then, number 4, what's going to happen to his employment status with the federal government? Okay? He on administrative leave right now. That ain't a termination. That is not a termination. Like, he got to do a background check. You know, you got to do a background check and you got to be good. You got to be cleared to come on base. Like for civilians and military. But civilians, they have to show, they have to get scanned. You have to go to the pass and ID office to actually find out if you even got base privileges to even drive on the base. And if they see that you got a criminal record, they don't let you come on base. So what's going to happen with his EPSQ? a federal background investigation has to be done to see his fitness for this role. That has to be underway. It should be underway. Right? Like, this man is working on the federal government. He's not gonna be able to be on base, so he shouldn't have a job. And I'm telling y'all, we gotta look at what this process is revealing to us. You know what I'm saying? Like, with this entire process. So, this case is live, y'all. So, I'll update y'all as it moves. Now, the comment war question, right? I want to hear from you. I want a real answer down there, right? And I want y'all to think about this. If this role was reversed, and you had some black man that just had driven past a whole white family reunion, he shouted out some racial slurs to them. He went home, grabbed a gun, put on some body armor, took his AR-15, loaded it up, and came back down the street and started shooting them. Do you believe that he would have just been charged with aggravated assault? And do you think the DA would have set a bond, or the court system down there, the magistrate judge, they would have set a bond for $5,000 in Georgia, in Southwest Georgia? Do y'all think that he would, if the roles were reversed and the skin color was different, and it was us, and this was a black man that did this to a white family, do you think the charge and the bond would have been the same? Drop your answers. Drop your answers. If you're not on YouTube, come on over to YouTube. Drop your answers in the chat. Drop them in the comment section. Yes or no. And whatever your reasoning is, I want to see what the community thinks. I want to see what y'all community. I want to see what y'all think about this. All right. And I want y'all to look into HB 426, the actual law in Georgia. All right. HB 426. Brian Kemp signed it into law in June of 2020. Go look at that law and look at what I'm saying, and tell me, if you're in Georgia, get on the phone with your legislators and say, y'all need to change this law. It cannot be an enhancement on top of a prosecution. It has to be able to be filed when the charges happen. Okay? Because the DA, the only thing he can say, if there's a conviction, we're gonna seek some hate crime enhancements, but he can't add charges to this right now because the law doesn't allow it. This is a penalty enhancement, not a charge enhancement. All right. And if this episode, if it gave you something, I want y'all to share it. Share it. Share it. Share it. Share it. Share it. Send it to someone who needs to understand why these cases matter and why this law is only as real as the people willing to enforce it. Okay? And if you haven't already, subscribe if you want to stay in the room where the receipts get read. Okay? I want y'all, the GBI tip line is in the description up there. Okay? If you were there, if you got some footage, if you know something, use it. Let's help this family out, y'all. Let's help this family out. It's receipts over reputation. We're going to keep it culture. And I will see y'all on Thursday.